Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Ella Marks. I'm on the admin relations team here at Salesforce, and I'm your host for today's broadcast. We're broadcasting from our home studios all this week to share some new features in the Spring 21 release. After our product team shares the highlights, we'll spend some time taking questions on the air. We'll be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazer community and Twitter, so post your questions as soon as you can and use the hashtag SalesforceLive. I recommend posting your longer, more detailed questions in the community where the conversation can continue after the webcast. If we don't get to your question on the air, we'll be sure to follow up with you within a few days. All of our webcasts will be available on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. Since we may be covering the roadmap, we'll be making some forward-looking statements, so please make your purchasing decisions based on currently available functionality. Now, let's get started with Pardot and meet our product managers.
Thanks, Ella. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today to look at the new and exciting features and functionalities that Pardot will be delivering with the Spring 21 release. As always, we truly hope that everybody is staying safe and productive during the challenges that we all face together. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in.
One of the things that makes being a Pardot product manager so fulfilling is the inspiration we get from all of you to help drive our innovation. We delivered a ton of new features in the past year, many of which came directly from the community. Our Summer 20 release was packed with community-requested features such as Salesforce authorization for Pardot APIs and the Opportunity Engagement History dashboard. The trend continued in Winter 21 with some of the most requested features, a new email experience in Lightning, and email scanner click protection. You'll see more email enhancements in the upcoming releases. In Spring 21, we're proud to release features such as cross-business unit leads and contacts, cloning assets with campaigns, and two-click unsubscribe. We've also made first-party cookies generally available and have two new exciting beta/pilot programs underway for account-based marketers. Overall, we've delivered almost 42,000 points in IDX requests for Spring 21. With Salesforce and Pardot, we are all about marketing and sales working together to achieve your business objectives. And so when we think about our product roadmap, we've been focused on four key themes. The Salesforce Customer 360 platform is our solution to help you put your customer at the center of your business. It's one platform to connect the entire customer journey across sales, service, marketing, commerce, and every customer touchpoint. We're continuing to invest in the Lightning platform to ensure your marketing and sales organizations are aligned and can scale as your business grows. Marketing and sales productivity is a key element for growth. We are looking at ways to help both teams be more productive and efficient so you can accelerate the customer journey. Account-based strategies are increasingly important to B2B teams. We help you identify key accounts, engage buyers, deliver connected engagements, and grow these customer relationships. With marketing analytics, we continue to make it easy for anyone to understand and improve campaign performance and overall marketing ROI, turning insights into action. And artificial intelligence is changing the game, helping you get smarter about your customers. This is the key to unlocking the next level of B2B marketing, productivity, and effectiveness. Let's begin deep diving into the Spring 21 release with the Customer 360 platform. There are three main areas that I'd like to highlight today. Firstly, the new Marketing Setup app, which will help your admins with centralized navigation and guided setup. Next, updates to first-party tracking and domain management, focusing on ensuring first-party context and increasing security and ease of use. Then we can cover cross-business unit leads and contacts, which allow for the enterprise-wide tracking of prospect engagement from a single leader contact. Finally, I will pitch a reminder for the upcoming changes to user authentication. As Pardot continues to deliver more value to your organization through enhancements and innovation, it is becoming increasingly complex to determine where, when, and how to implement capabilities in relation to one another. Welcome the Marketing Setup app. This app and Setup Assistant provide a one-stop shop for a consolidated list and suggested path for implementing current and new features. For those going through their initial implementation, to customers trying to get a jump up on the next release, next best setup actions will be suggested via Marketing Setup Home to ensure a smooth setup experience. First-party tracking will allow customers to only leverage first-party cookies for tracking purposes, which is growing in importance as browsers are continuing to crack down on third-party cookies. While third-party cookies can be leveraged to help customers to provide more personalization across domains, they can also be used for more nefarious reasons, like tracking someone across the internet or for cross-site scripting attacks. First-party tracking will allow customers to improve their privacy posturing and maximize the data they can collect for providing personalized experiences. It is as easy as taking the following steps. First, activate the beta feature from Pardot settings. Next, set up a new tracker domain or configure an existing one with the default campaign. Then generate the tracker code on the same page you manage the domains, and add them to your websites that match the top-level domain plus one of your tracker domain. Finally, align your Pardot assets to use a tracker domain that align with your web properties. Now your website is using tracking in a first-party context, letting your user know that you take their privacy seriously. What about the sites that you haven't converted yet? Well, they'll continue to function as they do today until you add the new tracker code. In terms of domain management, all new tracker domains will be HTTPS enabled by default. Browsers are working hard to move the internet to HTTPS by adding more restrictions like mixed content blocking or same site. Search engines are also starting to penalize non-secure sites when it comes to SEO, and tracking is maximized when only using HTTPS links. Overall, secure domains are the way to go. In order to deliver an enterprise-wide view of the customer, we will be opening platform flexibility to allow a single leader contact to exist across business units. With this flexibility, you'll be able to view data from each of your business units, enabling your sales teams a full picture of how their leads and contacts are engaging. You can also use that data to segment and automate. Let's see what this looks like in the app. We have a really exciting update for customers who are currently using or are interested in using Pardot business units. Traditionally, a new lead record is created each time a prospect engages with specific marketing assets from different business units. But we know it can be difficult to manage duplicate CRM records. With the Spring 21 release, a single leader contact can now live across your business units. Let's hop in and take a look. A big part of what has prevented this functionality in the past is that a prospect could have a different value for the same field in each business unit. For example, our prospect Carl Cross has engaged with both of our United States business unit and Europe business unit, and has a different prospect score in each. As there's only a single field to capture score on this contact record, we can only hold one of his values. I'm going to navigate to my connector to reveal a new connector setting that will prevent these types of fields from pushing values directly to the leader contact. These fields have also been added to the Pardot Bulk Export API. With this connector setting, and the addition of those fields to the API, our admin has been able to pull those fields onto a custom object, which can maintain a many-to-one relationship with leads and contacts. Let's go ahead and check in on Carl Cross's contact record. As we look at Carl's related records, we can see the marketing profile, which is our custom object of interest. Not only do we see that Carl is engaged in our current USA business unit, but we can also see data on how Carl is engaged with our Europe business unit. As a salesperson, I can make much more data-driven decisions on how to best sell to Carl, because I have much more well-rounded visibility into how he is engaging not only in my business unit, but also across the entire enterprise. As a marketer, I can also take advantage of Pardot's custom object integration to build segments and automations based off of data from different business units. For example, in the USA business unit, I can build a list of customers who have a Europe engagement and automatically add them to a cross-promotional campaign that we are running. Before I make a handoff to Kylie, I want to share a reminder of changes to user authentication that will begin on February 15th. With this change, all Pardot users will authenticate through Salesforce. Salesforce Authentication brings a list of security enhancements, like custom password policies, login hours, and multi-factor authentication. This change will also ensure users have access to all of the great new features that will be launched directly on the Salesforce platform. Before this date, please ensure that all of your Pardot users are linked to a Salesforce user and that your API users are also linked to a Salesforce user.
With that, I'll now hand things back over to Kylie to share how the Spring 21 release will help accelerate the customer journey.
Thanks, Rob. I'm Kylie Yancey, Product Manager at Pardot. Now that Rob has walked us through the highlights from the platform, I'm going to be covering what new innovation is coming to help you accelerate your customer's journey. Let's dive in. The 3 features that are going to save you time and accelerate the journey of your prospects as a result include the enhancements to the Pardot email experience that became generally available in the Winter 21 release, as well as a beta to add accounts as campaign members. And lastly, we'll review an exciting new productivity enhancement to clone campaigns with related assets. Let's dive in. First up, we've made some recent improvements for Spring 21 to enhance this new email experience. These enhancements include email template app exchange compatibility. Lightning email templates can now be created by third parties on the app exchange, so you can easily download proven winning templates to your org. Email templates in change sets. You can now test template customizations and migrate them from one org to another, including from sandbox to production, via standard Salesforce change sets. And you can now use your Lightning templates and Salesforce automation tools like email alerts, process builder, and flow. Within the Pardot email experience specifically, enhancements include sender and reply to hierarchies. You can send from and reply to, assign users, create fallback criteria if one doesn't exist, and even send from a specified CRM user. We've also added additional completion actions to our sending experience, like specific link clicks. And email content cloning. When you're ready to repeat success, you can clone previously created email content to hit the ground running. Historically, Salesforce campaigns are focused on leads and contacts, but many of our customers and their marketing teams are focused on accounts. We have delivered account and campaign related lists, but the next step is to allow our customers to add accounts directly to campaigns. Often you want a campaign that targets accounts, but you either don't have the contacts yet, you do not know which contacts will be relevant for your campaign, or maybe you don't need to target the actual contacts for a specific case. Account-based campaigns will be a powerful tool in the ABM toolkit. Some common use cases include account call-down lists for inside sales to identify contacts at existing accounts that don't yet have contact records, events targeting accounts before attending contacts have been identified, or direct mail campaigns. Productivity and efficiency has been a large focus for the last several releases, with features like snippets, Search and Engagement Studio, complex rules, and HTML, and it will continue to be a focus over the next several releases. With all of the time saved with the recently released productivity features, your campaigns are more powerful than ever before, which likely means you'll want to repeat, reuse, or share that power across other channels within your organization. Before now, you could clone a campaign with its related campaign member statuses and with its related snippets for a head start on a new marketing initiative. And while this saves time, we've heard your feedback that you need a way to repeat success with more of the assets: landing pages, forms, snippets, snippet assignments, all related to that campaign. Campaign and asset cloning will provide just that. For example, if there's a trade show campaign that performed particularly well, and you want to replicate the setup and success of that campaign, simply clone the campaign and related assets to get the campaign started. Some additional notes about this feature. Cloning assets for a campaign creates net new assets for the new campaign. That means that reporting, analytics, and insights will be specific to the new campaign, and the integrity of the assets for the original campaign are not compromised. Customers no longer need to manually update each clone asset record for the new campaign. When Pardot marketing assets are cloned, their content and relationships are updated automatically to the newly cloned asset records. For example, a cloned landing page is updated to reference the newly cloned form instead of the old one and use URLs of the new custom redirects. To see how this looks, let's go ahead and dive in. Relaunching a successful Pardot marketing campaign and copying multiple Pardot asset records is about to get a lot easier in the Spring 21 release. We're enhancing the clone with related functionality on campaigns to include Pardot marketing asset records. You will now be able to clone a campaign and all of the related marketing asset records in a matter of a few seconds with only a couple of clicks. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here we are on our product launch webinar campaign. We ran this campaign successfully last quarter, and we want to leverage it again. As part of this campaign, we've been using snippets to make quick updates to webinar details like date and time. We can see here the related landing pages, forms, and links. Normally, to replicate a campaign like this one, it would take us quite some time. We would need to copy each asset individually and make manual changes. But with our clone with related asset enhancement, we're going to show you how easily we can clone this campaign for next quarter and save ourselves tons of time. As we want to clone all related records, we'll go ahead and select everything: the member statuses, marketing assets, and snippet assignments. As we can see, all of the information from the existing campaign is copied over to the cloned campaign. After we make a few small updates, we are ready to save and clone. Here we are on the new campaign. As this campaign is brand new, we see that this campaign has no metrics yet. We can see, however, that all of the related landing pages, forms, and links have been copied over to the new campaign, and the snippet assignments have also been copied. How much easier was that? All it took was just a few seconds and a few clicks to clone everything, and now we can get started on executing the new campaign. In the past, if we manually made a copy of a form, custom redirect, and landing page, we would need to update that landing page to use the new form and custom redirect that you just copied. We definitely don't want that. It slows down our productivity. Our new clone with related enhancements solves this challenge. Not only are we making copies of your marketing assets with their content and metadata, we're also automatically updating them for this new campaign. This includes URLs for custom redirects and files, form to landing page relationships, and more. This is great from a reporting standpoint because it makes it so much easier to track each asset's contribution at the individual campaign level. To see how this all translates to the asset level, let's take a look at the form record. Here we can see that most of the information from the original form has been copied over intact, but some data is updated as well. The name has the date and time of the clone appended to it. It's updated to point to the newly cloned campaign. A new link has been generated, and this form is being used by the newly cloned landing page. The content of the form has been updated as well, so let's take a look. The content of the original form was copied over and updated. It was automatically updated to use the new cloned custom redirect and file records that were cloned with the campaign. We can verify this by looking at the date and time appended to the file name. Since we cloned snippets, these snippets will continue to work as well. And of course, the thank you content and completion actions were copied as well. And there you have it. Launching new campaigns and copying marketing assets is now quicker and easier than ever before. We're very excited for the Spring 21 release and empowering you to effortlessly clone your marketing campaigns and hit the ground running. Okay, that's it for me. Now I'm going to hand things over to Ramon to cover other new and exciting enhancements available in Spring 21.
Thanks, Kylie. It was awesome to see those amazing productivity features, which I know will be saving our users some precious time. I'm Ramon Lodia, a product manager at Pardot, and I'll be talking through some of the Spring 21 features that help you get smarter about your customers. So let's dive right on in. In the Spring 21 release, we have a handful of product updates available to help turn your insights into actions. We have several enhancements on our analytics product that will allow you to leverage additional data in B2B MA and B2B MA+. And we've enhanced our base unsubscribe feature in Pardot to give your users more granularity and control with how you capture opt-out requests. So let's take a look at some of these exciting changes. In the world of analytics, we're releasing many iterative improvements to our existing products. Last release, we presented the Pardot Object Sync beta for B2B MA and B2B MA+, which allowed you to select and sync prospect custom fields to Einstein Analytics and your out-of-the-box Pardot datasets. This release, we've enhanced the existing beta feature. Now, your standard and custom fields are available as a single prospect dataset, and you can choose which fields to bring into the Tableau CRM. We've also updated the Einstein attribution model to show lead ID in its data. This small but powerful enhancement will allow you to build stronger and smarter connections with your other data points like opportunities. And it'll help you understand the relationship this data helps identify within your CRM. Finally, we've made it easier to get started with Einstein behavior scoring setup. With a few clicks in the setup page, you can have a proper dashboard running with the scoring model all within your analytics application. Another major feature coming out this release is the two-click unsubscribe. We know that capturing the most accurate consent data from your prospect is vital in this day and age of privacy, and we have been taking a look at improving our core feature in that regard.
In Spring 21, you will now have the ability to update your unsubscribe page to require an additional confirmation. Prior to this change, when a prospect clicked unsubscribe in your emails, they would be immediately opted out. But this poses problems as bot clicks checking for spam can create false unsubscribe when checking your sent email. Now you can update this critical feature to require an additional action from your customer to help ensure that they're the ones actually providing consent. On top of that, we've rehauled the entire unsubscribe setup page to present more clarity in how and what fields are shown to your customers and provide a few more editing options when creating your unsubscribe content. These features will greatly aid in tailoring your compliance flows and help maintain a healthy, mailable database of prospects. But enough talking, let's take a direct peek at how to use these exciting new features. So let's navigate to the unsubscribe setup page to see how easy it is to configure. Our marketing user here can navigate to their unsubscribe page to see that the page has gotten a pretty major facelift. Now options and details are clearly laid out to provide our marketer with tons of clear information of what this page is set up to display. We can click edit here to see some of the new options at play. And the first thing our marketer will notice is that a new toggle is present to allow this page to require a two-click unsubscribe confirmation. The marketer can go and click enable, and this will open up a new set of options. They'll be able to edit the message and title for this new confirmation page and tailor this information as needed to provide clarity to their customers. In addition, as they scroll down here, they'll be able to see how Pardot already provides some default text and prompting in their experience, which wasn't clear before. Once the user clicks save, this page is pretty much ready to go. Going forward, any email sent with an unsubscribe merge field will have this new experience set up and active. Now, if there is ever a need to actually turn it off, a user can simply click edit to open up the editor and go to toggle it off. Pardot will recognize the switch and caution the user to make sure they actually want to turn off this feature, as it could affect future unsubscribe rates. Now, our user doesn't actually want to turn this off, so they can easily back out of this change by clicking never mind. Now, to preview what this experience looks like, the user can view the provided link on this page to see the changes. Once previewed, the user can now have the confidence that when customers go to unsubscribe, they'll first see your prompt here before they get opted out from their marketing emails, and then they can progress with the rest of the flow as needed. And now, that pretty much just covers everything you need to know about the two-click unsubscribe coming in the Spring 21 release. To wrap things up, let's recap all the exciting changes coming to Pardot this release. Rob walked us through some robust and powerful features to configure how your prospect data is reflected across business units. Kylie showed us some time-saving productivity improvements and how you can easily duplicate massive campaign efforts with a few simple clicks. And I just walked you through how you can keep data and privacy at the forefront by tailoring your consent flows in new ways. Now, there are many other features we didn't have time to display, but you can follow up and find more information from the following resources displayed here. So take a look after this session to learn more.
And with that, I'll turn it back to Ella for some Q&A.
Thank you, Ramon, and welcome to all of the folks out there who are joining us today, and welcome to the live Q&A portion of our broadcast. If you haven't asked your question yet, you can still post your questions. So go to the Release Readiness Trailblazer community or Twitter and use the hashtag Salesforce Live. We have a lot of questions for our experts today, so let's dive in. Rob, our first questions are for you. Are you ready?
Sure, let's go.
Awesome. My first question is, what users have access to the Marketing Setup app?
Yeah, the Marketing Setup app is designated for Salesforce admins. So specifically, we're looking for the Customize Application permission, which is with the admin profile.
Great. And what permissions are required to view marketing profiles?
Yeah, so just to be clear, the marketing profile is kind of just the demo name that we gave our custom object in that demo. So really for any customer who's having this set up, it could be any other value. And the permissions around that is really up to you. So it's going to be based off of your organization-wide defaults. We want to make sure that users only have access to the business unit data that they have access to. So a really nice way of handling this is based off of user sync. You can add users to business unit specific groups. And if you apply permissions to those groups, to the records of those marketing profiles or whatever that custom object may be called, it's a really good way to differentiate and have your users only having access to the data that they should have access to.
Great, thank you. Is there a limit to how many marketing profiles a single lead or contact can have?
Yeah, so a single leader contact should have a separate marketing profile row for each business unit that they have interacted or engaged with. So if, for example, we have 3 business units and our prospect has engaged with 2 of those, they would have 2 rows. Or they could have 3, or they could have 1 or none. And today, business units is limited to 25 business units. So at most, a specific leader contact shouldn't exceed 25 rows in that marketing profile object.
Got it. 25 rows. Got it. Final question for you in this round is it possible to track a prospect across websites with first-party tracking?
Yes, so the answer overall is yes. It is possible to track a prospect across websites, but there is definitely a difference between doing it with first-party tracking and third-party tracking. I'll give kind of a little bit of a scenario here. With first-party tracking, let's say we have a prospect, Jane Smith, and she engages with our first website. So that's going to drop that first-party cookie. And if she goes ahead and fills out a form on that website, that's going to convert the visitor record into a prospect record. If she were then to go to our second website, it's going to have its own top-level domain and its own tracker domain as well. So when she looks at that page, it's going to create a separate visitor. However, if she fills out a form on that second page, then that visitor will be associated with that prospect. So now we are tracking across both of those websites. So the big difference is that she will have to fill out the form on the second website in order to be tracked across both.
Got it. Thanks so much, Rob. We'll come back to you with a few more questions a little bit later. Kylie, our next questions are for you. The first question is, are the new email enhancements also available for the classic email experience?
That's a great question. No, these enhancements are only for the new email experience that GA'd in winter 21, so October. If you haven't had a chance to enable that in the Pardot Lightning app, I definitely recommend checking it out. There are instructions on the help and training documentation as well as the winter 21 release notes. So,
great. Thanks, Kylie. A few questions about the account-based campaign beta. How can I join?
So we can actually post the help and training outline on the Trailblazer community group for a release readiness live. It has all of the steps to enable it. You will need an admin to do that. So if you're asking as a user who does not have admin access, you'll want to partner with your admin to enable that.
Great. And follow-up question, do I have to have Pardot to use the account-based campaign beta?
You do not have to have Pardot. So this is going to be available for Sales Cloud customers as well.
Great. Thank you. Final question for you right now. Are there any Pardot assets that will not be cloned?
No, I have to double check the list of them. I can put them in the again, the Trailblazer community group, but all of your assets that are related to the campaign, so that have an actual relationship to that campaign. So for example, engagement studio programs are not related to a campaign, so that would not clone. You'll see all of the related asset types when you go to clone with related, and all of those asset types are what you can clone over.
Great. Thanks, Kylie. Ramon, we'll move to you next for a couple of questions. So thanks for joining us. The first question is, when can I enable 2-click unsubscribe?
Yeah, so you'll be able to enable 2-click unsubscribe when your org gets the winter 21 release on it. So probably later this month. Can't give an exact date. It depends on when it rolls out. But once that happens, when you go navigate to your unsubscribe page, you'll be able to see all the new options there. So just keep an eye out for it.
Great. The next question is, do I need to do anything to ensure all emails with unsubscribe links now support 2-click unsubscribe?
So there's one key caveat here, and I mentioned it during the demo, but the new 2-click, once you enable it, will apply to emails going forward because it generates a new link to basically point your prospects to. So since emails prior have already been sent and they have an older link, they're going to still go down, navigate to the old page. But going forward, every new email will have the proper newly created link that takes them directly to that 2-click unsubscribe.
Okay, and this may be a follow-up to that. So do emails already sent out have the 2-click flow enabled?
No. So right now, when emails are sent out until you get the settings and change them, they're being sent with the old 1-click confirmation.
Great. Thank you. Let's jump to some of our questions coming in from the Trailblazer community. The first question is coming in from Air, or maybe R. Is there a video that walks through the steps of setting up SSO for Pardot?
Yeah, I can handle that one. Yes, there is a video available for that. We'll be certain to share the link in the Trailblazer community. It's not really a difficult process, but it is a really important one. So I would urge everybody to go ahead and get it done. If you haven't already done so, get it done earlier than later. The February 15th deadline is coming up on us really quickly here.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Our next question comes from Brittany. Could someone please provide a couple of example links for email templates to download on the App Exchange? These sound valuable for my sales team.
Yeah, so I don't think there are any links we can provide offhand like this moment, but we're happy to dig in with the owning team of templates to see if there's anything they would suggest.
Great. So Brittany, keep an eye out in the Trailblazer community where you posted your question. So thank you for posting that there. We'll follow up with you. Our next question is from Michelle. For the clone with assets, how can you control naming conventions of all the assets?
Great. So right now it's actually going to be formatted with the quote unquote old record, or like the master. I hate to use that word since it's not related at all to the cloned one, but it's going to have the name of the original, maybe the best word, appended with the date and time that the clone takes place. You can, of course, edit that within Pardot by editing the asset itself, but by default, it's going to assume that original name and append it with the date and time that the clone occurs, so you have that context.
Great. Thanks, Kylie. The next question here is from Kyle, who's asking, does the 2-click opt-out also apply to the automated opt-out link with Engage that appears when an Engage email has 10 or more recipients?
Yeah, so once you enable the 2-click unsubscribe, it will be pulling from the latest unsubscribe merge field. So the unsubscribe merge field, once you've turned on 2-click, will be generating that new 2-click experience as you go forward. So the auto appended unsubscribe link will be the 2-click one, assuming you have it on.
Great. Marilyn wants to know, are there any considerations for admins wanting to enable accounts as campaign members?
Trying to think of anything that would be top of mind that we would need to cover now. The biggest thing is that it's a beta, so this isn't fully GA, if you will. It is optional to enable. I think some things you'd want to think about is just knowing that it is a beta. It's not part of the services of your master subscription agreement, so that's a consideration. But other than that, there are some updates to adding related lists. Surfacing this information is going to be something that you need to work with your admin for. There's also going to be updates to reports. So there is some admin intervention to make sure you're getting the most value out of this beta, but nothing that stands out as like a red flag right before opting in.
Right. And maybe this question came from the community. Maybe there are some awesome admins out there that have already gone through this process who can kind of chime in and share their advice and guidance there.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Stacy asks, with the opt-out enhancements, are there any tools that will make it easier to track opt-out reason?
As of right now, there's no new additions in that area, but with the existing tools you have, you can look to perhaps using custom fields or automations to help kind of build out your own process around that. Hopefully later down this year, it's an area we're currently exploring, so we'll see what we can do down the road to make that a little bit easier to manage.
Great, thank you. Brittany has another question here. Do we still have to build new email templates from scratch to leverage the Pardot Lightning email enhancements, or can we convert our old Lightning Classic templates?
So Pardot email templates from the new experience is the same as your Lightning templates in Salesforce today. So you could absolutely, with some caveats there, we have a lot of documentation around some potential caveats you'd want to think about. You could create an email content record that you send through Pardot using a Lightning template that already exists. But in terms of transitioning your Pardot email template, so ones you might be using in Engagement Studio or autoresponders, there is no transition experience for that today into a new email experience template. Lots of templates and email words in there. But yeah, so they are sharing that email template object. So your sales service and marketing teams are working off the same content if that is beneficial for your users. They don't have to, of course, but yes, email content can be optionally tied to a template. So you don't have to, if your marketing team wants to hit the ground running and create their own email content to send right away, they don't have to associate it to a template, but you absolutely could.
Great. Thank you, Kylie. Next question comes from Twitter, comes from Kelsey, who wants to know, will Instagram be added as a social posting connector?
I'm happy to tackle that one. The short answer is no, but there's a longer answer there, right? We want to think about providing more options to pull in your external services that you might be using in a way that's meaningful for your customer journeys by using engagement and automations or engagement studio, or calling out to take action on those prospects using your external services. So while we're not looking to create any new native connectors in the way you might think of them today with Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of those good native connectors, we're looking to more empower our customers to do that on their own behalf with all of the external services. Because if we created a native connector for every potential service you might be using, we wouldn't build anything else. So we want to make it more robust holistically.
Thanks, Kylie. Rob, I think this next question is for you. If companies have existing Pardot tracking code on their website, will they need to create a new tracker domain to secure first-party code?
As long as their tracking code matches the top level domain, then I think they are okay. If they have multiple websites and the tracking code does not match the top level domain, then they will need to update it.
Great. Thank you. Question.
Oh, and sorry. Well, I'll just add one more point to that as well, in that there is still an option to, when you turn on first-party tracking, to continue to use third-party as well until you've been able to convert everything over.
Rob or Ramon, do you have any resources that you'd like to share for folks who are learning more? I'll kind of comb through our questions here to make sure we covered everything.
Yeah, so I think for my area, anyways, on business units is specifically what I focus mainly on. There is a Pardot Business Units implementation guide that really is the most comprehensive look at kind of all of the features and all of the implementation steps on business units, and we do talk about the new leads and contacts across business units in that document.
Great. And Ramon, any good resources you have on your side?
Yeah, I mean, just as we saw during the presentation, there was a bunch of links where you can follow up. I would suggest definitely digging through the release notes, see what's new. From there, there's usually links into the help and training docs to really dive deep into all those topics. So probably one of the best springboards, I think, to finding more information.
Great.
We'll also give a quick shout out to the new marketing setup app, which we talked about during the session. When you are a new customer, or even if you're an existing customer, you can still get to it. There's a welcome mat there that also gives some really good links to different places that you can look to get good helpers on implementing and also on new feature notifications.
Great. Thank you. It looks like we've had a couple of new questions come in. From Charles, he wants to know, can I add an identity user to the Salesforce campaigns without purchasing a Sales Cloud license for that person?
So identity licenses are really just about authentication. So being able to sign in, but not necessarily having access to any of the objects or records within Salesforce. So I think the answer there is going to be no. You would need a Sales Cloud license.
Thanks, Rob. Tanya, it looks like your question about Email Builder, we can follow up with you in the community. But that looks like we have reached the end of our questions for today. So thank you all so much for joining us. That's a wrap on our whole week full of Spring 21. If you missed any of these sessions, you can view the recordings anytime on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. If we didn't get to your question live, don't worry. We'll follow up with you within the next few days, and we'll see you right back here in a few months for Summer 21. So until then, let's keep the conversation going in the release readiness community, where all trailblazers meet to become release ready. Can't wait to see what you do with these features, and we'll see you back here for Summer 21.
Thanks, everyone.